Hi, I'm Tracy Soltis, your leading health and nutrition coach and molecular biologist. I've consulted with hundreds of people around the world on their human journey. So if you're a seeker looking for answers, information and knowledge, you'll find it here. Come on a journey with me as I explore the science, the physical body, and the cognitive and energetic space of what it really means to be human. Welcome back, everybody. And today we're going to be talking about how to love your life. Yay! I'm so excited for this episode because I want everybody to love their life. And it really comes down to investing in ourselves, okay? During the whole step, through the whole process, it's all about getting to know who you are, what you want, what your needs are, how you can be of service to others. But it's investing in yourself, okay? Showing up for yourself. And because all of these things, and we're going to talk so much more about it, is going to help prevent disease later down the track. How much do we want that? Okay, we want that so much. I mean, I know my ultimate goal and part of the reason I'm on this whole journey of, self-discovery and self-love and self-care and all of that is because I don't want to, lead myself to disease later down the track. I mean, if that happens, it happens and I'll deal with it then. But the idea is to try and prevent that from happening, especially some of the, the most common things, because a lot of the things that people have diseases from later on in life are actually preventable. Okay. And so we want to get to the core of that, of what's going on and how we can actually try our best not to end up in that position. But health essentially isn't just about, the nutrition, the food we eat. I mean, of course, it plays a massive role, but it's only one particular area. So, of course, food is important, but it's not everything. There are so many other pieces of the puzzle, and there's so many other areas of our life that get overlooked because we're just focusing on one particular space. And it's hard because we're busy people, we've got lots going on. So it's hard to kind of spread ourselves around and look at all of the different facets that make up our human experience. But essentially, the more that we kind of open those little boxes up and have a look in there, the more that we're able to take steps to making sure that they're running really well. Okay, so another thing too, and that I want to touch on is, we've talked about nutrition and exercise and those being important, and work is also important, and I get it. That's what makes us busy. Okay, we're busy all of the time, work and being parents, but what is our job costing us? Okay, because we spend a lot of time at work. I mean, I don't spend a lot of time at work because I've scheduled myself that way, right? It's taken me a very long time to get to where I am without thinking that I have to do, crazy amount of hours and have so much load on me that it's just not physically possible for me to achieve everything. That has come through a lot of self-development and a lot of letting go and lowering my expectations of myself to get to where I am right now. But what is your job costing you? And do you love what you do? Because that's so important to, we spend so much time working, and it's important to try and do something that really brings us joy and fulfillment. Does it feel like a chore to you, or do you do it just to pay the bills? I mean, what would bring you joy? Okay, if you did a self-reflection of what your ideal situation would be like, what does that look like for you? Okay, because we spend a lot of our time working, and you're only here on this particular life within this particular vessel for who knows how long, so the time that you spend is really, really valuable. We want to make sure that we're using it. And it doesn't mean doing all of the things and, learning all of the stuff all of the time. It's about creating space for joy and happiness and calm and doing nothing. Do you know how much of my time I spend with my clients giving them a task of doing nothing? Yes, it's right. They come in and they're all busy, right? And everyone is the same. One of the first things that we do is we look at people's schedules and we see all of the stuff that they've got going on their plates, and it's chock-a-block. You should see it. It's like back to back. And I'm like, right, we're going to create some space where you can do nothing. And people were like, so can I read a book? I'm like, nope. Can I exercise? Nope. Can I write? Nope. Well, what am I supposed to do? Nothing. Do nothing. Sit in a chair, lay in the backyard, look at the clouds, do nothing. And that is one of the most difficult exercises for people to do because they have to be within themselves. They have to start going, oh, I'm going to sit with myself. That's a really challenging thing to do. And that's the whole point of the exercise, right? There's so many benefits to this. And then once people get into it and they start realizing where I'm going with it, they love it because having time to yourself and doing nothing is so beneficial and it really starts the healing process. So filling our time with all of the things to do, is that bringing you joy? If it is, amazing. Keep going how you're going because I'm all about the joy. But if it's not, what could you do differently? Okay, so is it really important for us to go to work and buy all of the things, like all the material stuff? I mean, how much stuff do we need? I mean, if that is part of like your mission, no problem. Like go nuts, man. Like enjoy it. Go work your ass off and go buy all of the stuff. That's awesome. But it does drive people crazy. Okay. And I see that. They don't want to have all of the stuff. They don't want to have all of the things. It puts a lot of pressure on people. So it's something to ask yourself, do I really need all of this stuff? What's really important? Okay, who we surround ourselves with is so important as well. Okay, relationships make up the majority of problems that we face as humans. Okay, toxic relationships, gossip, negative interactions. Okay, they all create a negative field of energy around our being because we're having to deal with all of this stuff all of the time. And yes, it's part of our experience, right? It is totally there to give us an opportunity to learn and to challenge us and to, allow us to seek within the ways that we could do things differently. But if we are self-damaging and we are, hanging out with people that are really bringing us down, like, why are we doing that? Like, it's not good for our health at all. I mean, do you see some of the people that you surround yourself with? Do you walk away from those experiences when you've caught up with them exhausted? Like, this has happened to me in the past. Yeah, where I've gone, I'm going to go see this person. I'm going to have to build up all of my strength and my energy to go to this, and then I'm going to have to try and set a time limit because that's all I've got, because all the negativity and the gossiping and the carryings on is just too much for me, and then I've got to run out the door. So yes, I used to have like a plan. I'm like, oh no, I can't stay for too much longer because I've got to go to this thing so I could get out, right? Like, that's not healthy and you feel exhausted and like your tummy gets all upset, and that's not okay. So, I mean, there are those situations, or do you have other, friends or people that you hang out where you feel energized? And that's amazing. That's where we want to be. We want to walk away from our interactions with people feeling as though, oh my God, there's been an equal exchange, giving and receiving. I've been heard. I've been valued. Like, this was such a beautiful conversation I just had with that person, and I feel so high on vibration right now. This is amazing. Yeah, that's what the sort of, interactions that we want to have. So do the people in your life lift you up and support you? Yeah. Do they support your endeavors? Yes. You know what? There's a lot of shit that I do, which is kind of left field for people. But you know what? I don't hang out with people that don't support my decisions, because why would I want to do that? Like, all the people that are in my life are super supportive. It doesn't mean they have to be part of it, right? Or they have to get it. They have to understand it or know why I'm doing it, but they support it, and they go, you know what? Good on you. Go do that. Like, that's awesome. They support my journey and I support theirs. And that's really important. If you're hanging out with people that are judgy, that does seep into your being, okay? People who sabotage conversations with negativity about themselves, for example, you catch up with someone and you're really busting to tell them about something exciting, but they spend the entire time whinging about something, and don't even ask you about yourself. I mean, no, this is separate to, those times where a friend desperately needs you and they really need to talk about something important. Obviously, that's different. But if you're just catching up for a giving receiving kind of interaction, and they spend all of their time talking about all this negativity and bitching and gossiping all of the time, like, why do we want want to do that to ourselves. It's just not, it's not the sort of thing that we need to have in our lives, right? Because your time can expire at any point. At any point, we don't know when that's going to be. We don't know how long we're here for. We don't know when it's going to end. So why are we using our time this way? And having a healthy system means eliminating a lot of the negativity and toxic behaviors around us. And sometimes that means we have to remove ourselves from different relationships. We outgrow many relationships as we move through life, and that's okay. It doesn't need to be a massive falling out, okay? It can be done really gracefully, but it's going to be beneficial for our health if we actually look at these relationships we've got going on and know if they're actually serving us and for our betterment, they're supportive, they're loving and caring and compassionate, or whether they're negative and toxic and make you have a physiological response, the tightness in the tummy, the upset tummy, the shakiness from anxiety. These are all key communicating factors that we need to be aware of and take notice of. Okay, so when we move away from these relationships, it can be done gracefully, okay? It can be done from a place of gratitude for everything that we've received from the other person, okay? It doesn't have to be a massive falling out. And your mental health is so important. Like when we talk about health, that's why I'm saying nutrition and food and dieting and exercise, it's only one portion of it, but people associate health with just those few factors. Mental health is so important. And so when we're looking at our health, I know from my own experiences that when I've been, around stressful situations and I allow those stressful situations to creep up on me, they just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And now, like going through all of the journey that I've been through, I am so much more aware of when these things are causing me harm. Okay, I'm so much more aware of situations that aren't serving me, and I'm really quick to address them and resolve the issue. Okay, but that doesn't mean that I'm preventing future stressful situations from arising. Sometimes I might be, but not necessarily, because that's all part of the journey. Okay, we're going to get through one stressful situation in whatever way we need to, but there's always going to be another one that comes up. Okay, that's just part of this whole experience. But it's when we learn to deal with this, okay, it's learning how to acknowledge what's happening in our body and when we're feeling these different responses, because this all has to do with health. This is the way the body is signaling to you that something is wrong, okay? And it only has a way of communicating through actually giving you physiological and physical responses to tell you something isn't right. So you need to become more aware of how you feel, where you feel it, what it feels like, how big it is, so that you can actually start removing that from your life as well. So it's important, I guess, to understand that, when we're dealing with pain and suffering that the universe and this experience throws at us, it's about being aware of these things, okay? So we have to learn how to deal with all that pain and suffering, because that's just part of this kind of journey that we've decided to come into. It's how we acknowledge the feelings that we get when these negative experiences happen to us. It's about giving it a voice, okay? It's validating its importance, and it's about not brushing it off, okay? This is how we are. It's how we ask for support and guidance, and how we move through these situations beautifully, and that takes practice, okay? So it's not something that we can do overnight. It's something that is a learnt skill, because sometimes we do have a knee-jerk reaction to certain situations that happen because we go into a fight or flight response, and that's really normal. But as time goes on and we build awareness and we grab something before it gets to that point, we're able to sit with it. We're able to feel what's going on in the body. We're able to look at what is it that I'm trying to tell myself, okay? What does this situation need to hear? Give it a voice, validating its importance and not brushing that off, because yes, of course, there's always going to be someone in a worse position than you, but you're not living their experience. You're living your own experience. And it's still important to validate your experience and acknowledge your pain and suffering that you're going through, because that's how you heal. If you cover it up or you brush it off and you don't validate it and acknowledge it, it just keeps coming up. Okay, let me tell you something. You have to show up for yourself, right? So you can read all the books, you can listen to all the podcasts, you can keep listening to my podcast. You can take all the lessons, you can attend all the workshops, but unless you actually authentically show up and come from a place of your truth, nothing will ever change. And sometimes we're not ready for that change, and there's nothing wrong with that. We think that we're ready, and that's why we enroll ourselves into all of these things. But psychologically, mentally, physically, energetically, we're not quite ready, and that's okay. We have to wait for the timing to align. Okay, but the benefits that come from making a decision to invest in yourself are endless. Okay, so it's not just about health and nutrition and mental health. It's about investing in you, showing up for yourself. This is going to prevent your disease later down the track, because you're going to be aware of all of the physical symptoms that are happening in the body, where they're coming from, and how you can start healing those. Okay, so but when we actually invest that time in ourselves, okay, we have more love to give. We're not walking around as cranky, angry people, okay? We're like, oh, like I've got so much love to give this person, even if you don't know them. You want to give them. You've got the capacity to have the presence and the time for other people, even more time to negative situations when you get stuck on hold on the phone to some corporate company, and you've been sitting there for ages, and finally the person answers. Go, oh, I've been waiting for so long, blah, blah, blah. You're like, oh, hello, yay, you're here. I'm so happy to talk to you now. Here's all my problems. Please help me, right? You've got that compassion to give to someone, okay? You've got more love to receive because you're open. Whether you realize it or not, when we are closed, and it's funny because I literally just had a conversation with my hubby just now, because we work on our stuff all the time. We show up, right? And we're always working on stuff. And he's got a little shield going on with a particular topic at the moment. And I know that he needs to drop that shield if he wants to receive the love that I have to give to him. So we all have to be aware that even though you can't see it and there's no physical shield right there, the other people who are trying to penetrate your shield and get in there and give you love, you have to be open to receive that love. Yeah. And sometimes that takes work, and some majority of the time are not even aware that we have all of these brick walls and shields and things holding us back from receiving all of the love that's available to us. Okay, more compassion. You have the ability to show more compassion to others and to receive compassion. Because how hard is it sometimes when we're going through something really tough and someone shows us compassion? We're so quick to dodge and avoid it because it's like, oh no, I'm not worthy of receiving the compassion. Yes, you are. You are worthy of receiving that compassion. Welcome it, take it in, absorb it. It's yours, right? But if we've got all of these barriers and things up, we're not open to it. And think of the energy that gets spent from the person who's trying to give it to you. They're going to the effort of giving you some of their light, some of their energy into your being, taking it away from themselves to give to you. It's important that we acknowledge and respect that and are able to open up and allow that to be received. Okay? If we work on ourselves, we have more energy. We have more vitality. And you know why? It's not because we're going to be bouncing around all the time, because that's not realistic, but we have the capacity to work through things quicker and more efficiently. We develop more awareness around what's happening in our body. And so we're able to actually utilize the energy that we have. We don't waste it in areas where it doesn't need to go. Okay. So we have to learn to love ourselves first. This is one of the most crucial things. That's what health comes down to, is learning to love ourselves, because when we love ourselves, we want to look after ourselves. Okay, we want to be here for as long as we possibly can, and we want to show up, and we want to be here to help everybody, right? So we have to learn to love ourselves first. And this is where the healing and true health comes from. When we show up and we love ourselves, there's nothing we can't do to change the things causing ourselves harm. There's nothing we can't get through. Nothing, right? We can do anything. We can get through anything, right? Because you're only here for such a short time in this particular life. So let's make it count, okay? We will want to eat better. We will want to exercise more. We will want to be of service to others because we are receiving love, because we love ourselves. We're allowing ourselves to feel worthy of our own love. That is crucial. And that is at the very core of good, true health. Okay. Maybe that's triggered some of you, and that's the whole purpose of this episode. So I want you to reflect on that and have a little think. I've just had a little download there where I went, hang on, I just need to acknowledge that this is actually a really difficult thing for a lot of people, is to authentically know that they are valuable and that they are worthy of love. And that is one of the hardest things to get through. So I just want to acknowledge that and say, it's okay. Research, explore this a little bit more, and then come back to this topic, okay? Because health isn't just about what you eat, okay? It's about how you conduct yourself. It's who you surround yourself with. It's the things that are in your life that are causing you joy or suffering, okay? And self-love. So let's look at some of the practical things that you can do to prevent disease later down the track. Okay. I'm going to keep it really practical with some of these things, right? Movement. All right. So away from the mental, psychological, cognitive type stuff, we're talking about the physical right now. So mobility issues are one of the key problems in the elderly. And we've all experienced that situation where an elderly person in our family has broken a hip or a bone and just simply hasn't recovered very well, right? How many times have you heard that? And so creating a body of strength is really important, but you have to invest the time. Muscle strengthening, lengthening, and exercising are all important if you plan to live a life in the future where you can do the things you love without worrying. Okay, and this is where sometimes we forget and we leave it too long. We think, yeah, we'll get back to it, and we don't move and we continue sitting at that desk and we don't get up and we don't stretch and build our muscles. And that is going to cause problems down the track, okay? We need to condition the body now. Being housebound due to a lack of mobility can lead to mental health issues, okay? Humans are very social creatures and we crave connection, but physical pain and an inability to be mobile, to get out and do the things that you love, that is going to have a detrimental impact to your mental health down the track, okay? Physical pain, no, it's really difficult for people having to take a lot of different medications just to get through life at a later stage because they haven't developed the strength in the body to actually get up and do the things that they want to do. Really important. So staying active now and keeping the body active for as long as possible can ensure that you're going to be with your loved ones and do all of those amazing things as much as you can. Movement also has the ability, obviously, to burn off any excess energy stored as fat in the body. Okay, so you guys know I talk about this a lot as fat being a magnet for toxins, but I want you to think of it as like a pasta strainer, pasta sieve, right? So toxins coming through the body and the bloodstream get caught up in that netting, okay, of the fatty tissue. So imagine the pasta strainer is the fat, and you've got toxins and a whole bunch of other stuff coming through, but all those toxins get stuck within the top part of the sieve, okay, or the strainer, and they're not able to get anywhere, and then they just become part of that netting, that fatty tissue, okay, and they're unable to be released from the body. This is how many diseases start, okay, buildup of toxins and poor fat burning mechanisms prevent the body from allowing this yucky stuff to be released, and it just accumulates. That's what happens. That's where a lot of diseases start from, is because we get a buildup of all of these toxins in the body and the body can't get rid of it. Okay, next thing, stop drinking alcohol. Now, I'm going to say it's really hard, obviously, in our culture to stop drinking, full stop. I totally get it. I'm not an advocate for alcohol. I think that there's a time and place for it. Obviously, part of a human experience. Like, let's, enjoy the experience. Okay, good quality. We're not using it as a band-aid. We're not using it to cover any underlying issues, right? It's actually there to heighten our experience and provide an opportunity for joy and love and compassion. Totally all for it. But that's not, unfortunately, in our culture, there is an excess amount of alcohol use, okay? And because of that, we've got a lot of cases of fatty liver. And that's where there's a buildup of fatty tissues within the liver. And the liver, remember, because this is typically an early onset of liver disease, right? And that's pretty prevalent in older people or even younger people now, to be honest. That's what's happening. So I want you to remember the incredible work that your liver does for you, okay? It's the one organ that regulates the toxins that we just talked about in the body, okay? So if it's sick, you're going to get sick. If your liver is just full of fatty tissue and it's absorbing all of those toxins, it can't get rid of the toxins, and then the toxins it's like a backlog. Can you think of that like I'm visualizing it in my head, right? You kind of like got this creek and everything's flowing really, really nicely, but you've got all these rocks, and you know how the rocks in the creek stop everything from flowing? So imagine that's fatty tissue, and that builds up more and more and more and more, and then next minute you've got like a dam situation. We've got all these toxins on one side and then nothing getting through on the other side. That's kind of what happens, okay? And this is where we get, brain fog. We don't sleep because sleep is deeply impacted by the liver, okay? Where a lot of people wake up in the middle of the night because their liver is actually having a little bit of a glitch, and so they wake up quite abruptly between 2 and 4 a.m. is because the liver isn't working correctly. Okay, so those sorts of things happen. But the benefits of decreasing your alcohol intake, or only having it on special occasions, for example, is that your brain fog is going to disappear. Okay, a lot of people have memory problems because of excess alcohol use. Okay, you're going to sleep better. You're going to stop waking up during the night. You're going to lose weight around the tummy, all that subcutaneous and visceral fat, that we see. You're going to start losing some of that. This stuff holds toxins, okay? You're also going to have increased energy, okay, because the body isn't trying to rid itself of toxins all the time. So when we stop using alcohol as a band-aid, we can get to the core of some of our issues and start healing them right away as well. Okay, that's number one thing, and that's what health comes from, is getting to the core of a situation, learning and knowing what you need to do to change the situation so you can improve your health. All right. Next thing, learning to work through your limitations and negative self-doubt. Yes. Oh my God, this is the juicy stuff. Oh my God, I love this so much. It's about owning your shit, right? Be accountable for the fact that up until this point, maybe you haven't looked after yourself. And you know what? That's okay. Let's just move forward, okay? Maybe you've externalized your problems onto others and it's time to start being more accountable to yourself. Maybe it's time you realize you are the only one standing in your way. Okay, so showing up and dealing with our emotional baggage is going to shift this stagnant energy that's held within the body. Okay, so now we're talking more energetic and mindset. Okay, because I want you to think about, actually I'm going to talk about that in a different episode because that's a whole other topic. But oh my gosh, I have a love-hate relationship with breaking cycles, and I know firsthand how much work has to be done to break habits and cycles. But when I go through that process, oh my gosh, what an evolution that happens. What a transformation that happens, right? Because we have to lower our ego. At some point, we have to drop the shit, so to speak. We have to drop the walls of the ego and go, okay, this is who I am. this is what I've done to this point and it hasn't served me very well. I need to change and I need to start working out what I can do differently. Okay, because just when you think that you've broken cycles, right, and you think you can't transform anymore, oh my gosh, the universe just provides more and more and more opportunities, right, for you to keep doing it. And it just gets better and better and better. And that's the amazing thing is like, I think about who I was even just a year ago and I'm so completely different. Like 5 years ago, like I wouldn't even know myself. I'm so completely different to that person because I decided and I made the decision to step in and own my own shortcomings, to break my cycles, to stop reacting the same way to different things when people did certain things and choose a different path. I mean, all of these things, working through all of those limitations and, not having that self-doubt anymore or not worrying so much about everything has changed my life, has improved my health. And because of that, my mental health has changed. And then because of that, I eat better, I sleep better, I want to exercise, I want to be here for people more. I'm open to love, I'm open to giving and receiving love. All of these things make a massive change in our health. Okay, so yes, eat better. But nutrition comes when you love yourself more. That's, people come and see me and say, I want to lose this amount of weight. I'm like, no problem. But we have to address some of the core things first, right? Because otherwise stuff just won't change. We have to learn to love ourselves and accept ourselves for exactly who we are and what we're here to do as well, okay? We all have shortcomings and we're never going to be perfect. There is nobody here who is perfect. Nobody. Okay. When you love yourself, you don't want to fill your body with processed rubbish. Okay. You don't want to drink so much. Okay. But, when we're here as a human and we do eat rubbish food, we are guilt-free. And that's one of the biggest joys. Okay, we're not harboring all of that guilt and shame because we go out and we enjoy and indulge. We go, oh my God, yes, like I'm going to eat all of the stuff because like, oh my God, it's amazing and I love it. And you're going to enjoy the crap out of it, right? And the next day you're not going to wake up and go, oh, I wish I hadn't have done all that. Oh my God, I'm going to have to exercise so much now. I'm so big and we put on so much weight and blah, blah, blah. You're not going to be down on yourself. Don't be down on yourself. Just enjoy it. Like enjoy the crap out of it because you know that the other 95% of the time or whatever it is, you are doing all of the things that show yourself self-love, okay? The self-destructive, things that we do to ourselves, we have to try and work out how to stop doing them, okay? And we also have to look at those Band-Aid issues that we do, okay, where we might need some support and some things that we might need to work through so that we aren't using toxic substances as a Band-Aid to cover up those things as well. So it all comes down to self-love. And yes, I eat rubbish sometimes. I ate a whole bag the other day. Oh my gosh, it was the best. I went to Fresh Prov and I got this chocolate honeycomb, but like the really nice fancy stuff. And it was the best chocolate honeycomb I have ever eaten in my whole life. And I pretty much ate the whole bag because my family could see how much I was enjoying it, right? And I offered it around and they're like, my hubby's like, no, I can see how much you're enjoying it. You just eat it. And I'm like, oh, yay. So I ate the crap out of it and I enjoyed it. And do you know what? I don't feel guilty about that. I couldn't care less. It was the best, right? And I enjoyed every single moment of that. It was the best, just exactly what I needed. But did I do it again the next day? No. Right? Because you got to set boundaries and you got to set your own limitations and know that you can't keep, doing that because if you keep doing it, it becomes a bit of a self-sabotage. Like then you got to reflect and go, oh, hang on, what's going on here? Like, why am I all of a sudden eating, the chocolate honeycomb every single night of the week? There's something going on. I need to address this because that's not the problem. Eating the honeycomb is not the problem. There's something else going on. So yes, it was just a one-off for me and I don't regret it one bit, right? But I haven't gone off and bought another bag because I just wanted to enjoy the novelty of something so amazing as a once-off. Okay, so that's about knowing your limitations and not feeling guilty and self-love, okay? Lastly, Live a life of passion, right? Love your partner with passion. Express your desires and your heartfelt knowings with fire. Okay, if you don't feel this way, then show up and do the work. If, of course, that's something you want to do, okay? Something to explore there if that's not how you feel, okay? Relationships, romantic relationships change as well. And not all romantic attachments last forever. That's the reality. People evolve. Some do, needs change, wants change. All of those things change as we move through and shift through different things in our life. Okay, live a life in purpose. Do what brings you joy. Spend your time radiating from your heart in a job or a career that makes you shine. If it's not possible right now, that's okay. Make small steps towards it and take a risk. Okay? Again, this is the life that you're in right now. We don't know how long it's going to be here for, when it's going to be over, and that's not up to you. Okay, you don't make that decision, right? Okay, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? I could be sitting here drinking my coffee. I could die right now. Who knows? It's not up to me, okay? You're here for such a short time. Okay, in this particular life, make it count before you leave. And then if you have, well, make it count now before you leave, and you have to come back and do it all over again, right? So hopefully you retain some of the stuff within your soul's knowing that you bring back into your next life. Okay, so it won't be so chaotic and crazy next time. Who knows? All right, so that's all I have to say about that and how to love your life, okay? It comes back to you. It's not always about nutrition and life and lifestyle choices and eating well and exercising and all of those things. It's about how you show up for yourself. It's about how you love yourself, what you will accept in your boundaries and what you won't accept in your boundaries. All of these things are so important to, allowing yourself to feel worthy of change. And then when all of those things happen and when you actually feel that compassion and that love for yourself, everything else falls into place. It always does. You will want to do better by yourself. You will want to do better by others. It just comes naturally. All right, that's it, everybody. So maybe there's someone out there who needs to hear this chat. So please share it with your family and friends. Give me a 5-star rating. I would love that. This is free information. Everything I offer is for free. Okay, I do this with love and compassion. This is my service to you guys. This is what I love to do. I love sharing my knowledge. I love sharing my experiences. I love getting personal and talking about what I'm going through because I want to normalize things for people and know they're not alone in what they're experiencing and going through. You're not alone. Okay, so if you've got someone out there that needs to hear this, share it with them. Okay, I've got some upcoming women's workshops as well. The Divine Feminine Flow, which is a beautiful 4-hour cycle awareness workshop. I've got one in September 11, November 13. I've got a women's circle on October 16. You can grab tickets for all of those on Eventbrite. And they're beautiful. Okay, so connective with other women. We drink cacao. We talk about hormones. I get geeky and nerdy and I love that, right? And people want to know all of this stuff. How to eat, how to exercise, the moon, rituals. We talk about everything, okay? It's all about sharing as well. So if that's something you might like to do, come along and learn as much as you possibly can. And don't forget to follow on socials. So Instagram, Facebook, whatever your preference is, I really don't mind. And that's it. So until next time, take care of yourself. Step inwards, get messy with life because it's so exciting and so interesting and so challenging and how incredible is it, right? So until next time, take care, love each other. Bye-bye.
The information, views and opinions expressed on this podcast should not be used or treated as a substitute for nutritional medical, psychological, or other advice by a qualified medical health professional. Hosts and guests on the podcast express their own opinions, experiences, and conclusions. Nothing on the podcast should be used to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any medical conditions. The podcast is not intended to replace any medical or mental health treatment. All information and advice provided is for general well-being and does not take individual cases into consideration. Neither Tracy Soltis, guests on the podcast, or any sponsors endorse the opinions, views, or conclusions expressed or shared on the podcast. Tracy Soltis takes no responsibility for any symptoms or consequences as a direct or indirect result of this podcast.